question is, are you ready?
What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you.
Throwdown Nation, we are live. It is a Thursday night. We are rolling on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter/X, on Facebook, and on Twitch. It is episode 170. Somehow we've managed to do 170 of these of the Throwdown, where we celebrate the art and sport of professional wrestling with a strong focus on the indies. I'm your host, Matt, and tonight we are throwing down with a Tampa, Florida-based wrestler, the Mad Hatter himself, Rafael Delgado. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Man, if I were doing much better, there'd probably be 3 or 4 of me. And before we get started, let me direct your attention to the ticker running on the bottom of the screen. That contains all, or at least most, of Rafael's social media accounts, along with mine. So do us a favor, if you aren't a follower or subscriber, please take the time to go to each of our platforms and do so. It definitely helps both of us. And for those of you that are watching this live, if you have questions or comments, just throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first and the most obvious question, kind of the elephant in the room, so to speak, and that is, how long have you been wrestling, Rafael?
I've been wrestling for about 4.5 years now.
Gotcha. So who all has trained you? Who all has been a part of shaping you into the performer that you are today?
When I had first signed up, I was training under Francisco Chiazzo and Storm Thomas. After a while, Storm Thomas needed to step away for some personal things. Still love him to death. That's still my coach. But I'm forgetting the word. I was mainly and permanently trained by Francisco Chiazzo, who is my wrestling father. May he rest in peace. And currently being mentored by the Emerald Emperor, Simon Says, and the Puerto Rican Hound Dog.
Nice, nice. So in terms of the early portions of your wrestling training, what was the most challenging aspect of professional wrestling for you to wrap your mind and body around? And did you come into professional wrestling training with an athletic background prior to wrestling?
The hardest part, there were 2. The hardest part was the flip bump. Just for the life of me, I could not do a proper flip bump. The second and most challenging was my strikes. I have an amateur wrestling background, and I've trained a little bit in boxing and jiu-jitsu, and my coach said combat sport athletes have the hardest time when transitioning in the ring because, we have to pull back our punches, make contact without actually hurting who we work with.
Right, right. Yeah, like you, I come from well, in my case, very brief, very slight wrestling background. I've wrestled a couple of years in high school. And then later on, several years ago, I trained for a few years in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I still maintain there is no better full body workout than rolling rounds of jujitsu with different people. I mean, it works muscles in your body that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, and you find out exactly how agile and flexible you end up becoming, because the art of jujitsu is folding laundry with people in it. So it's either you fold
Yeah.
people or you get folded.
Exactly. And the funny part was when I got started training in jujitsu, um, I chose that art because having wrestled, I was comfortable on the ground, on the mat, that kind of thing, and it seemed like a logical martial art. But at the point that I started, I was usually both the oldest and the smallest guy in the class. So I had to play a very mobile game because, especially early on, if I let these bigger, stronger guys get on top of me, I was doomed. I mean, there's nothing to be done other than tap.
Yeah.
So, oh, go ahead.
It just sometimes your biggest weaknesses good lord, can actually be your biggest strengths. Just feed them. It's like, I'm old, I'm the smallest one, don't hurt me. As soon as somebody jumps on it, it's like, ah.
Yep. So, I'm presuming, because this is the case with the majority of people I've had on the show, that you are that you've at least been a fan of this stuff the majority of your life. Is that pretty accurate?
Yes. My mother's side of the family moved down here from New York, and two of my older cousins got me into it. We were watching Monday Night Raw is War, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
"What is this? I don't know what this is." I was a kid. All I ever knew about was cartoons, and I
Yeah.
fell in love with it. But then, growing up in a Hispanic family, my cousins and I and my little brother started doing the moves on each other like 90 or 100% of us all did.
Yeah.
Got into for it, was banned from watching it for years, and every now and then, late at night, I would tune in to Raw or WCW or whatever was available, and I've loved it ever since.
Yep. So, what would you say is your earliest wrestling related memory?
Hmm. Ooh, would have to be when I was introduced to pro wrestling in general. It was an angle involved with Triple H, The Rock, and Kurt Angle. And all I remember is The Rock cutting a promo on Kurt Angle, this and that, blah blah blah. Kurt Angle ends up on the jumbotron, and he goes, "I wasn't trying to hit you. I was trying to hit Triple H." And Triple H just says, "Yeah, don't get me confused with this idiot." And it was actually, my memory's a bit hazy, but I believe this was also around the time that Kurt Angle won his first heavyweight title.
Gotcha. Yeah. My earliest memory was as a kid in Florida watching the old Florida Championship Wrestling back in the early 1980s, back when Gordon Soley was doing the commentary, and watching the first feud I remember watching as a kid was Dusty Rhodes and Kevin Sullivan. And yeah, I mean, and this was back when Kevin Sullivan had the whole Army of Darkness satanic gimmick going on, and when you're 11 years old, that's some heavy stuff. I mean, Kevin Sullivan was a scary guy when you're 11.
I used to be terrified of the Undertaker.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
used to have nightmares of Undertaker. And funny enough, I would be more scared of Viscera than I was of Taker, just because he looked so weird. It's
Yeah.
not scary, it's just he was creepy looking. It just, ugh.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, was there a particular point in your life when your fandom kind of shifted and you started thinking, I think I could actually do this? Was there a particular point, or was it sort of more of just an organic process?
Hmm. That would be later in my life. Like I knew
Okay.
that rules and everything like that, but I just wasn't aware. And I was working at Publix at the time, and a friend of mine came up and said, "Hey, check this out." And I was like, "What is this?" He goes, "Oh, a buddy of mine is in pro wrestling." And it was a small promotion that was in Plant City called NFCW, New Florida Championship Wrestling. Very small promotion, did not last long, maybe a year or two. And he goes, "Yeah, this guy right here, that's my old coworker. He used to work here." Then I showed my cousin Juan, who is one of my cousins that got me into pro wrestling. He goes, "Yeah, no, I graduated with that guy and that guy and that guy and that guy." And I was like, "You mean I can do this? If they can do this, I can do this." And it took a couple years, but around 2020 is when I actually started. I know that's late, but I nearly got into not nearly. I was in a very severe accident that took me out of work for about 3, maybe 4 months. When I won the settlement, a buddy of mine who was training under the WWNTC sent me a text saying, "Hey, we're having open ring if you want to come check it out." I've met his coach before, Francisco Chiazzo, and some of the other students. I was like, I don't know, maybe another week. And I sat in my room for 10 minutes, just staring at my wall, just 1,000 yard stare, saying, "Nope, I'm going. If I don't do it now, I'm never going to do this." And I haven't looked back.
That's awesome. That is really, really cool. So, obviously, the physical side of all of this is extremely important. Is there an exercise or a group of exercises in particular that you feel is most pertinent to keeping Rafael Delgado the Mad Hatter? Is there a particular exercise that you personally emphasize in your routine?
Cardio. I jog every day. And if I don't jog when I go to the gym, I do about 20 to 30 minutes on a treadmill at an angle, or I'll do the Stairmaster, just any form of cardio and squats. Because the first thing what they don't tell you when you first start training, the first thing that's going to give out on you are your legs.
Yep.
And after a few drills and everything, I caught my breath, the adrenaline died down, and I almost collapsed because my legs were ready to give out on me.
Got you. So, looking over at the Instagram chat, we've got a couple of people joining us. We've got actually a future guest on the show, the real key factor, Keyshawn Calloway, who is a wrestler based out in California. He's going to be on within the next couple weeks, and then we've got Totally Elevated hanging out in the Instagram chat. So, away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
I love to act. Before I got into wrestling, I did some community theater. I did a few small films here and there. I actually was in a film last year. It's local film called Savage. I died twice because I was initially hired as a henchman, and I just died immediately. I hung out on set. They're like, "Hey, Jason, can we use you again?" It's like, "Sure. What do I need to do?" you got to die again. All right, fine, whatever. Just let me cover my face. And I actually scared them a lot because I would get shot in the head, and I would fall. And every time we redid the scene, they're like, "Are you okay?" I fall for a living. Just trust me, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I
You know how to sell.
Yeah, I act. I sing a little. Currently trying to write a screenplay, and I have a lot of creativity, and I've always like kind of held it in. And I'm at the point where it's like, no, I need to let this out. You know, I want to express myself other than just pro wrestling.
Absolutely. You know, without asking you to give away too much, what is your screenplay about?
So it's a bit of a comedy.
Okay.
Called Short Kings. And the whole concept of the screenplay is it's a group of friends that they get together and everything. Think of like The Hangover. It's a bunch of guys getting together after years and everything like that. They're happily married and all that. But they realize that their wives aren't necessarily happy. They settled. So these guys go off on a trip to like let them know, you know, what their wives are missing out. And everything just goes wrong. They're trying to show what they can do, that they're still fun and everything like that, and then it's just straight chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Working on that, there I have a few actually. Is just that's the one that I want to put my like all of my attention on right now.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, you know, we are mostly a wrestling related show, but we do dabble a little bit into pop culture and such. And I'm always looking for recommendations. So, by any chance, are you watching or listening to anything cool right now?
Hmm. uh, I am a massive nerd, and I listen to D&D podcasts. Simon Says, my uncle, my wrestling uncle, put me on Not Another Indie podcast, which I
Mm-hmm.
recommend. They are phenomenal. I listened to some campaigns from Legends of Evantris. Show wise, depends on what you're interested in because I'm like I said, I'm a massive nerd. I my my viewing goes is it's a range. So from anime to soap operas, whatever, I watch it all. So what I recommend for some people, Peaky Blinders. New season is coming as well as a movie. One of my comfort shows is Community. It's a bit old, but apparently a movie's coming out. So fingers crossed on that. And the movie Head of State with John Cena and Idris Elba. Idris Elba. How
Mm-hmm.
what's his name? It was better than I expected.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, another outside of wrestling focused question, and that is outside of wrestling, what person inspires you the most and why?
Okay. We talking personally or like celebrity wise? There's a variety.
Um, Either one. I mean, maybe one personal and one celebrity.
Personal wise, Simon Says that man has had one hell of a career. And every time I hang out with him and I spend time with him, he tells me all of these stories. And when I spend time with him, I see the connections he's made, the networking that he's done throughout his career and his life. And I want to be like him at some point. He's somebody that I look up to heavily. Like I'm putting him over heavily, and I know he's gonna send me a text. He's like, "You didn't have to do that, this and that." But I was like, "No, love him to death. He is a role model to me, celebrity wise. Other than my uncle Simon, Johnny Depp, which is the character which inspired the gimmick, and it's not just his interpretation of the Mad Hatter; it's his interpretation of every other character, Willy Wonka, Jack Sparrow, his more serious movies.
Amazingly gifted actor.
Oh,
I mean, he's unreal. I mean,
oh yeah.
but we'll talk a little bit more, after we go off the air. But I would love to actually get Simon Says on the show. So if he'd be interested, having the opportunity to pick his brain would be an honor. So we'll talk more about that later.
I'll shoot him a message.
Okay. But so what is your actual? Are you originally from Florida, or did you? I think you said there was a New York connection.
Raised in Florida, born in Brooklyn.
Gotcha. So, how old were you when you left Brooklyn?
I was about 5 or 6 years old.
Gotcha.
At the time, mid 90s, my mom did not want me starting school in Brooklyn. It was very unsafe. So we actually moved to Ohio for about maybe 2-3 years. Came down to Florida to see family. She absolutely fell in love with it down here, and we moved down here. I've been here since.
Gotcha. So, what is your favorite thing about the Tampa area?
There's just so much to discover. Growing up, I was always told, oh, you got to leave Florida. There's nothing here. Explore your city. Explore the city that you live in. You'd be surprised at things that you find. And it's just every day that I decide to just go out and about, I find something new. And I fall in love with Tampa more and more.
Absolutely. And it's also an example of blooming where you're planted.
Mm-hmm.
So what does your family think about all of this? What do they think about the fact that you are pursuing your professional wrestling among other dreams?
They all find it absolutely cool because my entire life I always said, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. I'm going to be a pro wrestler when I grow up. And now that I'm actually doing it, they're all very proud. They still can't believe that it's a reality. But there's a lot of them that are like, I'm so happy for you. I'll never come to your shows because I don't like it, but I'm so happy for you.
That is, having that kind of support system and that kind of love is just amazing.
Absolutely.
Because and it's a blessing. So, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually pretty much yourself turned up to 11 or 1,000 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about in-ring Rafael Delgado and kind of compare and contrast him with everyday you.
In-ring Rafael Delgado is ready to scrap with anyone. He doesn't care how big you are. He doesn't care how strong you are. He doesn't care how fast you are. He will put up a fight, and if you just look at him funny, it's on sight. Out of the ring, Rafael, I don't like to fight per se, but if, confrontation happens.
Right.
I like to mind my own business at times. I'm very introverted outside of the ring. Even when I'm out and about, I tend to like to do things by myself. In the ring, Rafael Delgado, at shows, high-fiving everybody, kissing babies, signing foreheads, taking selfies, just being an absolute menace in a positive way. So yeah, it's definitely me turned up to 11 because I'm twice as loud and just all around insane, or mad, as you would say.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts? Lay it on us. Tell us about the very first one.
Oh man, it was nerve-wracking. So I was training and my coach looked at me and just said, I think you're ready to have your first match. No, I'm not. He goes, no, you've been training with us for a while. I think you're ready. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna make some phone calls, see if I can get you a match on the pre-show to FIP. I'm sorry, what? He goes, no, 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 just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Week goes by, and I get the text from my coach. Your first match is on FIP. What? I don't have any gear. I don't have anything other than my training shoes and like knee pads. He goes, get a black tank top, get some black joggers, and black tape, and you're fine. Okay. So with a 2 days notice, not a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 days notice, I had to go to the nearest Walmart or Dick's Sporting Goods, get what I could, and I had a 6 to 8 minute match with this guy by the name of Tyler Baker, and everybody knows that your first match, nobody knows who you are. Even when you go to new shows, nobody knows who you are. Act like every show was your first show. But it's the fact that I came out and I heard somebody in the crowd, like dead silent, saying, I think that's the ring announcer. Because I would ring announce shows while I was training. Just as a means of paying my dues other than setting up and tearing down the ring.
Right.
And I had the match, absolutely terrified the entire time, but I listened. I went as slow as I could, and then after it was all said and done, my coach goes, well, you didn't shit the bed. So I just took that as I did good. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. That's high praise. I mean,
So you're fine. Oh, all right.
so we've heard about the first one. Now, if you can narrow it down, tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of.
That would have to be, other than the championship wins, it would have to be my second match ever, which was against my coach. He had a gimmick when he was in OVW and whenever he goes to Georgia to work with the Good Brothers. The gimmick was called Frankie Coverdale.
Okay.
And super generic, babyface, the blue singlet with the star, the blue Letterman jacket, comes out smiling, headband, one finger in the air. And he goes, it's me and you, 6 to 8, you're going over. What? It's my second match. He goes, I know, you're going over. And I remember it fondly due to the fact that, it was my second match, first win, and he was willing to do that for me. And now that he's gone, he's been gone for over a year now, or about to be 2 years in January. That match means more than any title reign, any debut in any other state. I hold that match near and dear to my heart.
Well, for obvious reasons, and I'm terribly sorry for your loss. So, you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure you've developed some of these, but what is your biggest in-ring pet peeve?
It would have to be a pet peeve that I am guilty of or was guilty of.
Mm-hmm.
Still do it. Who am I kidding? When I'm in the ring with somebody who's greener than I am and we're slowing things down and everything like that, and we'll go over the spots before the match, or if they forget a spot and we communicate. But
Right.
say I have to pick them up for a scoop slam, and out of the blue they just say, take this. What? And they go for a certain move, and I have to stop them in their tracks and get the match back on track. I've had a guy who's supposed to do a Russian leg sweep.
Mm-hmm.
This is when I was a heel, before I did the Mad Hatter. He was beating me down, and I said, Russian leg sweep. He picks me up in a front headlock and he says guillotine. And I go, what? Does a swinging neck breaker. If it wasn't for the fact that I had all this hair, I would have landed very awkwardly. And I had one guy try to pick me up for a scoop slam, and I knocked him back down. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I got to put in more offense. I just cut you off. Like, we're not having this conversation, big discussion, but it's just like, I'll stomp him down and talk trash. And I was like, I just cut you off. Wait. And there are times where I'll do it too, where it's like, hey, I'm going to hit you with this. And the only reason I do it is when I can see that my opponent is lost.
Right. Right. So, where the question we're about to go over is actually one of my favorites. I've asked this in every episode, and I love this question because I get, it's been almost a 50-50 split, and everybody has their reasons for answering this one way or the other, and I always just find the reasoning on this to be fascinating. And that is, if you could only be one, would you rather be great in the ring or great on the mic?
Ooh, great on the mic.
Okay. What's your reason?
Storytelling.
Yep.
Storytelling. You can do, like, obviously you can tell a story in the ring, of course, but at the end of the day, what are people going to remember? What are they more invested in? How you made them feel, or what they saw? Like, they saw you do what, 20 flips and 70 super kicks and, Canadian destroyers. Like, I've seen it all. If you can get on the mic and you're amazing at it and you get people to either cheer for you or boo for you, they're going to remember that. Another example, Timon Says. He showed me this match that he did with Scotty 2 Hotty. And the way he told me the story, I was like, yeah, no, I see it. He did a whole match where the match was a promo. He gave Scotty 2 Hotty his shine by hyping him up, did the cutoff with his insult, gave him the heat as he kept insulting him, and then came the comeback. And Scotty got his comeback in where he actually hit him, did his finish, 1, 2, 3. I was like, that's absolutely amazing. All you did was talk, and people were invested.
Mm-hmm.
If you're great on the mic, you're going to go far, in my opinion.
Oh, and I completely agree with you on that. What I always really dig are the people that can seamlessly transition from heel to babyface and back and not really change much about their character. Just very subtle things that will basically lead the audience to perceive and accept them as one or the other. But if you can seamlessly do all that stuff, that's magic.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree, because I've seen some guys where they turn heel or they turn baby, and it's just such a drastic change from what they were before. I'm like, where are you gonna go with this?
Yeah.
What, you gotta turn back. Oh, well, I'll just go back to what I was doing before. That's such a change.
Yeah, like what Roman Reigns is doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now he's being perceived as a babyface, but he's still the same arrogant douchebag he was when he was the head of the bloodline. He still acknowledged me, but the subtle things, he's got the crowd behind him now rather than booing him, but he's the same character, and I find that just to be so cool.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Another perfect example of someone that I look at when it comes to working on your gimmick, your character, when it's time to turn babyface heel. Jericho, just every ever done throughout his entire career, and he's still going.
Yep. So, I mean, obviously, it sounds like you can do both. Depending upon what the promoter or the situation calls for. But do you actually have a preference yourself between working heel or baby?
Right now, with my current gimmick, I love being baby. I can be my goofy self and everything like that, and the crowd loves my antics in the ring, all the little dumb things that I do. Uh, I loved working heel. I absolutely loved working heel, especially because I would work guys like when I was heel. They had me working guys that were, you know, like I said earlier, greener than me, and I was put in like a veteran position. And we get in the ring, and I like to be in charge. So when I'm heel, I can take my time, give the guy, time to sell, and then just stomp on him, tell the story, get the crowd to really hate me, that they really want to see the baby face punch my teeth in. And I
Mm-hmm.
love doing that. If you can't give the crowd something to really just they want to see your downfall, then you're not a good heel. But right now, I love being a babyface. I love being able to make people laugh, getting the crowd to make noise, like cheer and everything like that. I have plans for the gimmick if I ever turn heel. And then once I turn heel, I have plans where I get dark and twisted with it. I actually have a mask coming in. I'm not going to give any spoilers until far down the road when I can actually put all my plans into motion.
Well, just the little bit you said right there, I am so intrigued. I mean,
I can't wait. I cannot wait. But with time will.
yes, patience.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that just really speaks to you, and it's like comfort food. You just find yourself kind of gravitating back to it, and it never really gets old. Do you have such a match?
Oh, ooh, I'm having a brain fart right now due to the fact that I watch it so much. It's on my YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel. It's in my playlist of favorites. But anything, honestly, anything with Mitsuharu Misawa, old school Japan, just
Mm-hmm.
everything they did in the ring at that time. It was art. The chain wrestling, the reversals, everything. It was beautiful. Just
Yep.
chef's kiss.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the Omega Okada trilogy from over there, and as far as wrestling on this side of the pond, so to speak, one of my favorites of all time is the triple threat between Hunter, Sean, and Benoit at Mania 20. I just that is just that's on my Mount Rushmore. I just think that is just a great match and a great story being told. It's unfortunate, the direction that Benoit ended up going.
Oh yeah.
But separating the man himself from his resume of work, I still maintain that Chris Benoit, the wrestler, was one of the best to ever do it.
Uh, like you said, on this side of the pond, one go-to match that I watch like as a comfort match was Benoit versus Guerrero at ECW One Night Stand.
Yeah.
That one of my go-tos. More up to date, like within the last few years. A lot of people shit on it. I enjoyed it. Was at WrestleMania 33, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton.
Yep.
And the cinematic match, honestly, between Bray Wyatt and John Cena. Just,
Yep.
I loved
I
it all.
mean, you know, the loss of Bray Wyatt was just such a tragedy for so many reasons and on so many different levels. Probably, you know, I dare say the most creative mind in the history of the business
Oh, absolutely.
got silenced way too soon. I mean, he was so far ahead of his time and just a bubbling cauldron of ideas, you know. And it's just a shame that all of that ended far too soon.
I agree. Just he was a perfect example of, somebody great on the mic. He had you invested in every promo vignette of the Firefly Funhouse before he actually wrestled again, before he debuted the Fiend. He got everybody invested, and all he did was talk.
Yeah.
And I absolutely adored him because that's the creativity that I felt was missing. And when he got released, it broke everybody's heart. And when he came back, I was so excited. And then everything that he was doing, introducing another character and Uncle Howdy and everything, like, I was like, I can't wait to see what he's gonna do next.
I know. And you know, that that match recently with Cena and AJ when they were doing everybody's finishers.
Yes,
When he hit Sister Abigail, I got choked up. You know, I mean, because that was just such a nice tribute to Bray.
I got choked up because was it that same day? No, the following day, I ended up going to Halloween Horror Nights for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And the first house that I went through was the Wyatt Six. And everything about that house was just, it was such a big tribute and honor to Bray. It was a masterpiece.
Yeah, I've heard that was very well done. Unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to see it for myself, but yeah, I've heard that it was just done so well and so lovingly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry for the background noise.
Not a problem. You know, back in a previous life, so to speak, I used to be a paramedic, so sirens don't bother me.
Worst part is that it's not a paramedic or anything. It's just whatever uh, Dominican brain rot my mom is watching. It's I don't know. It just she has it blasting, and I even told her I was like, "Hey, I'm doing this podcast." She just said, "Okay." She put the volume louder.
Gotcha. So, you know, piggybacking onto that question, the previous question, do you have an all-time favorite promo as a fan?
Ooh. Other than the one where Bray returned, the one promo that I watch to this day on repeat would have to be. I know a lot of people usually say CM Punk's pipe bomb, but
That's overplayed. I mean,
yeah, it was the promo Dolph Ziggler actually cut in his feud with The Miz, where he talked about how much he loved wrestling, but wrestling didn't love him, and that he gave it his all and everything like that. I was like, that was so powerful, and that was from the heart. And I will watch that on repeat, as well as the one where Eddie cut a promo on Brock about, you know, his drug addiction and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff, and whenever I'm feeling upset, I'll watch those promos as motivation to pick myself back up.
Absolutely. So, in your opinion, at this very moment, who are the best male and best female wrestlers in the world? One man and one woman. Who's the man and who's the woman?
I'm going to give male AJ.
I won't argue that.
AJ Styles. Female wise, I would have to give that. That's actually a good question. Not based off hype and popularity, off personal opinion. I would have Tony Storm. There we go.
Won't argue that either. She is doing the best work of her career right now with this run she's had in AEW. I mean,
Every is gold.
Yeah.
The minute I get on social media and it's a clip or something of Tony Storm doing something outlandish, and I'm like, she is just great.
Yeah. She truly is. So, and this can be present day or past. Who would be a dream opponent for you? Who would you love to have the opportunity to share a ring with?
That would have been the late great Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
Because I feel like if he were still with us and I had an opportunity to work with him, not only would he help me, you know, at being a better wrestler in the ring and on the mic, he'd help me with my character. He'd help me with how I want to portray it, as well as more than possibly give me better ideas and, you know, his own personal opinion. Because I want to tell the story. I want people to be invested once they see me walk through the curtain and everything like that. Because every time I'm on a show, people don't remember this move that I did, that move that I did. They remember how I made them feel.
Yep. And there's the old saying, you know, love you or hate you, they'll never forget you. And if that's the case, you're doing your job.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite move? What is something you just really enjoy doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you won't do or you would at least rather not do? And that can be giving or receiving.
So I know everybody does it, but I enjoy giving a very big running lariat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, JBL calls it the clothesline from hell. Simon Says decapitates his opponents with the Says Express. Anybody watching a live stream, Simon SEZ Says Express takes off everybody's head. It's beautiful and it's brutal. When I used to do it, I tried to make people remember the name and a little uncomfortable because I would call it the BBC, the Big Black Clothesline. And I remember one time during a match, I hit it and I started like swinging my arm and everything. And I hear the commentators like, he can't just be swinging that around like that. There are kids in the audience. And I'm like, this motherfucker. A move that I would never want to take and that I would never give to anybody is power bomb.
Mm-hmm.
For it is the first time I took it, it was the like the triple double power bomb that the Shield do, the Shield bomb.
Yeah.
And I trusted all three of these guys. I worked with all three of these guys before, individually and in tag matches. So, they took care of me. I tucked my chin. I put my hands behind my head. But when I made impact with the ring, my head still went back. And the right side of my neck was stiff for about 3 months, and I couldn't turn right. I had to do the Michael Keaton Batman when I needed to turn right. And I was like, yep,
Gotcha.
never taking that again, never giving that to anybody.
Gotcha. As a fan, and I've mentioned this on other episodes when we're doing this question, but as a fan, a move that I always kind of get the shivers when I see it being set up for, and you don't see it that much anymore, and there's probably a good reason for that, but when I see a vertebreaker being set up for, I just get the shivers because that move, it just looks like there are so many ways it could go catastrophically wrong.
Oh,
Back in the attitude era, especially in WCW, they were throwing vertebreakers out like it was candy.
yeah.
Now you really don't see it that much. I think the last one I saw done was I can't remember who he was working, but it was Cody Rhodes and somebody. They
Logan.
did yeah, Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul. Yeah. They did a vertebreaker, but I mean Cody I would trust to do it safely,
Yeah.
But yeah, I always kind of cringe when I see it being set up for, because I'm like, oh, just don't die.
Shiver up my spine. And another move would be the Muscle Buster by Samoa Joe.
Yeah. That's another one that can go badly, and unfortunately it has. I mean, but anyway, so you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure this applies to one degree or another. So I'll ask you, what hurts right now?
Everything.
Yeah.
Um, most painful right now is my right forearm.
Okay.
I was going to do a pop-up Samoan on an opponent about 2 weeks ago, and we were mid-motion, and I don't know how, but we were mid-motion, and I ended up pulling something in my forearm.
Okay.
I you can't really see it right now, but there's a certain spot it's just darker than the rest of my skin, and my left heel, and that's just because I don't know how to rest. Because everybody says, rice, rest, ice, compress,
Elevate. Yeah.
elevate. As soon as I get done with a show or I get off work, it's like, okay, time to hit the gym, time to go for a jog. Let's go out and see the town. Let's go hang out with friends. I don't need to rest. So I'm paying for it.
Yeah. Well, what can you do? I mean, so over the 4.5 years that you've been doing this, what is the worst bump you have taken?
Other than the power bomb,
Yeah.
um,
Or would that be it?
yeah, it would be the power bomb, just because of the fact that I'm a truck driver, and
Mm-hmm.
I also drive forklifts for my job. So having to turn right to drive backwards on a forklift, or just to look right at the rear view mirrors and everything, was pretty painful until it eventually faded away.
Gotcha. So, what is your take on the role that social media is playing as a promotional tool in wrestling, specifically indie wrestling?
It's a massive advantage compared to how wrestling used to be 20, 30 years ago. And the way I see it is use it to your advantage. You know, cut your promos, share your flyers. Uh, Hell, even do little updates of your day-to-day activities just so, you know, your fans can see what you do on a daily basis so that they can relate to you. But one thing I don't recommend for some wrestlers is talking trash on posts. Like, I have a show next Saturday in Spring Hill, Florida, and Pro Wrestling, where I am their grand champion, and I'm issuing an open challenge. And I've already had a few people not only comment on the post, calling me out saying that they're going to accept the challenge, but also sending me messages in my DMs. And all I'm saying is cut a promo, then post it, tag me, message the promotion, tag the promotion. Why are you messaging me? I can't do anything about it.
Right.
And there will be certain wrestlers like, well, I called first, this and that, and they'll just go back and forth, back and forth. It's like, I can't keep doing this. I can't take this serious. I've tried arguing one time on social media. I started laughing as soon as I typed something. I was like, nope, I'm just going to cut a promo.
Got you. Got you. So, knowing everything that you know at this point in your life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Wrestling wise,
Wrestling wise, or just life in general?
anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Don't give up because there are certain points in my life where I was very low, you know, mentally in a very dark place. So the advice that I would give my younger self is it gets better, it gets brighter, and you just have to keep your head up because every day is not going to be the same.
No. Very wise words there.
Thank you.
So, do you have any pre-show traditions? Any things that you try to do consistently before you walk through the curtain?
Stretch, do some body weight squats. Uh, if I'm with certain friends, say a quick prayer. That's a shout out to Dirty Man Devin Diaz. um, and just try to relax, try to calm my nerves because every show, everyone's always very tensed up, you know, because they don't know how many people are going to be at the show or they've never worked this person before. It's like, oh, I don't know, this and that. It's like, no, you need to relax. You know, you got to remember, we've done this before. We're going to keep doing this. Different, same show, different day, different opponent, new objective. So the bit other than stretching and everything else, I like to talk to everybody in the locker room just to kind of see where their heads are at.
Right.
There are some people that they're there, they're not in a good place. They'll be there and they just had a shitty day at work and they're angry or they don't want to be there. I like to communicate with everybody and just try to make sure we're all on the same page and that we're there to have a good time and have a kick-ass show.
Absolutely. And you know, reading the room is can really make the difference sometimes between, you know, somebody else having a good day and a good show. You know, if you can tell somebody is in a bad headspace, and you know, if nothing else, you can just offer them a hand or offer them, you know, an ear to, you know, get something off of their chest. Sometimes that can make the difference in their demeanor and potentially can change the overall trajectory of the show.
Absolutely.
So over the time that you've been doing this, Do you actually have a favorite venue to wrestle in? Is there a venue that's really special to you, or are they all kind of the same?
That I've wrestled at or want to wrestle at.
Both. Is there a dream venue, and is there a favorite venue that you have wrestled in?
Favorite venue would actually have to be in Dublin, Georgia. Uh, I can't remember the name of the middle school, but it's for Lariato Pro. And every time I'm on that show, they pack the house. The crowd is electric. They are invested in everything, and it's phenomenal. Dream venue. Hmm. The Yingling Center here in Tampa. Due to the old
Nice.
due to the old WWF days, the old
Oh yeah.
days. I would love, to perform in a big stadium, with the Fed and everything like that. But I feel if you're in a smaller venue like that, it's the crowd is more invested. It's more intimate. It seems a lot more exciting. It seems a lot more intense. I would rather perform in front of a small crowd that is heavily invested than a large crowd that they really don't care.
Agreed. I mean, having gone to both large, I guess larger federation shows as well as indie shows, the excitement and the electricity in an indie show oftentimes exceeds what you see at one of the larger shows.
Yeah.
I will say one of the most electric moments that I have been present for personally was back in 1998. I was actually in the Georgia Dome the night that Goldberg went over on Hogan
Holy
for the WCW title, and
that
with Goldberg being an Atlanta guy, that place came unglued. I mean, I have to witness that roar in person was just insane. So, yeah,
imagine. Oh my god. Oh,
yeah, yeah, that was wild. I mean, that was just crazy. So, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we've let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. And one of my previous guests, recently, I was fortunate enough to have something of a legend in the business on a guy named the Outlandish Zicky Dice.
oh,
Um, I had Zicky on last week, actually, and he is really a character. I had such a good time with him. But the question that he posed, and he was basically kind of riffing off of something that Joe Hendry told him, and that is, just reflecting on things as they stand with you right now in terms of your physique, your in-ring work, your promos, and your overall commitment to the business. What is the main thing in your game that you think you really need work on? What is the thing about your overall wrestling package that you most want to improve?
that would be my physique, honestly. I've been told that I'm a pretty big guy, I have big arms, everything like that. I take a lot of pride in my workouts and how far I've come. But I have the body of, oh, you can tell he lifts, but he wouldn't say no to a donut. And yeah, that's my biggest kryptonite right now is dad bod.
Well, you know, That's what you get from Bucky's. and those human head sized blueberry muffins we were talking about.
You're not wrong. I need to eat clean. Brisket sandwich.
But yeah, like I said, man, that conversation with Zicky was amazing. Really an interesting guy and somebody who has wrestled about everywhere there is to wrestle, and some really great stories. But since this is part of a series, do you have a question that you would like to pose to the next guest?
That's a good question.
Well, if you don't have anything at the moment, you can always DM me later on if something occurs to you. So I mean, don't feel like you have to come up with something at this moment if you're just drawing a blank.
No, I got one.
Okay.
What motivates you to keep going?
Oh, I like that. So sort of a what's your why?
Yes.
How would you answer that?
I would answer it. What keeps me going is my brother and my nephew. They are my biggest supporters. They are my biggest fans. They want to see me succeed. And I want to make them proud of how far I've come and how far I'm going to get in the future.
Well, I have no doubt that success is definitely in the cards for you. You've got a good heart, and you've clearly got the motivation. So, man, I'm excited to follow your career and see where this is all going to take you, because it's going to be someplace cool.
Thank you.
So we're getting toward the end of things now. So do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
Yes, I do. So this weekend, November 8th and November 9th, I will be in Melbourne for the entire weekend for a carnival that they have. Cannot remember for the life of me, cannot remember the name, but I will be there wrestling for the next 2 weekends. Be wrestling there this Saturday and Sunday. The 16th is a possibility. November 15th, I have Amp Pro Wrestling where I defend my grand championship, and it's going to be an open challenge because I have yet to have an opponent. And then that same day, a couple hours later, I have local pro wrestling in Polk City, where once again, I'm doing an open challenge because I like to live life on the edge.
Yes. And I've actually really enjoyed recently the resurgence of the open challenge with the U.S. title in WWE. With Sami Zayn doing it and then kind of passing it along to Ilya Dragunov. I just think that's actually a really cool thing. I've always enjoyed open challenges, because there's just the element of uncertainty, who's going to come out, So.
Oh yeah, it's the excitement because you never know who it's going to be, and it's always something surprising every time.
Yep. Very cool. So as far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, this Sunday, November 9th, at a special early start time of 12 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 171, and our guest is going to be a wrestler based out of the UK, Brazen of the Woods. I've actually had several UK-based wrestlers on the show, and it's always worked out really well. And just in terms of the technology and everything, the conversations have been pretty seamless. But it's actually going to be kind of cool because on Sunday, Brazen at 9 a.m. Eastern is actually going to be on our friend Chris Page's show. And then at noon, so 3 hours later, he's coming on my show. So we're going to sort of have back to back kind of a tag team of sorts of interviewing Brazen. So definitely looking forward to that. And then on Monday the 10th, at 7 p.m. Eastern, our normal start time, I've got episode 172, and our guest is a Texas-based pro wrestler and leader of the Cult of Pizza, Caius. So
again, November 22nd, Chapter 1 Genesis in Castleberry.
Oh, yes.
Florida. He is my opponent for the open challenge that I made for not just one, but two championship belts that I'm currently holding.
Oh, so that's right. That's right. Caius is your opponent at Genesis, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And I look forward to having a one-on-one bout with the leader of the Cult of Pizza.
Absolutely. I'm interested to talk to him and find out what the Cult of Pizza is all about.
So am I.
Yeah, that's intriguing. It really is. But anyway, so those are the next couple of guests we've got coming up. But I'm actually booked up through the rest of November, and I've got some bookings already into December. So I'm kind of booked. I generally stay booked about 6 weeks out. So anyway, I'm definitely keep an eye on my socials because there's some cool stuff coming down the road. But before we wrap all of this up, do you have any final words?
What is life without a little bit of madness?
I like it. I like it. And I absolutely dig this Mad Hatter gimmick, and the fact that it is a bit of a Johnny Depp tribute. I love that iteration of the Hatter, and what you were saying earlier about the dark side of the Hatter. I am so intrigued. I mean, that's going to be so cool.
I cannot wait to show the world, but it's gonna take time.
obviously. But anyway, for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and such, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, definitely do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until Sunday at noon with Brazen of the Woods, be good to each other, love each other, and let's keep throwing down.
And follow.
Yes.